All right, Lodge 374, Bird Dash Nights of England, Scotland, London, Derbyshire, Yorkshire, you name it. Exactly. We're at home. And so I want to point out here, we're here on a very, 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 very um, concentrated and strategic uh, pedaling maneuver with pedestrians, but we're moving at a diabolic metallic speed, diabolic metallic speed, man. And sisters watching over us, monitoring the corresponding circle, Kotora Coronati Lodge number 2076. The world, what is it? The world's first Masonic Lodge of Research. It's the world's premier Masonic Lodge of Research, therefore. And so to all nutrition, health, and well-being, humanity sakes, society sakes, to proficiency, just want to take note and suggest we each take notes when we have these kinds of trails: high magnesium, low hydrogen, equally high nitrogen, although it's all on export or exhaust. It's mechanics systems. It's not mechanical engineering, technically. Um, as we bear towards the destination, notice how the physical body feels. One foot after the other on the heel, digging the heel as much as possible, um, because we're not formally marching, but we are moving as a knighthood in the third degree, at least. Yeah. And so just noticed how putting the body to action, pushing, pressing forward, pressing further, frankly. All it takes is just to get a little bit of time, and the body just falls right into groove with whatever the task is for it in the physical aspect. Yeah, so notice how conditioned, contrary to how we evaluated ourselves early on, the thighs tend to feel, right? Notice how conditioned the legs tend to feel. Yeah. Notice how conditioned the torso starts to feel in. Notice how uh, flexible the spinal cord feels. These things don't feel this way early on all the time necessarily, right? And sometimes we have to propel it, to give it a boost, jump it forward. Yeah. So here is a story that ends happily ever after, um, in so many ways. Just having the daily challenge, that is something a lot of us are familiar with, and others, though it does occur, aren't connected with it or disconnected, and the body is suffering a whole lot of trauma. All right, so we, are just as vulnerable, but having asserted ourselves, we've now to transcend above that or beyond that level of personal development, referencing our fitness. Um, Things just need to warm up. It's like an egg. You crack an egg, you really don't want it unless you know, bodybuilders like our kind. Of course, we just take raw eggs, chop them up, and then make them some kind of milkshake, health drink. We get rad with our practices. Some people, probably many, probably most, are just not connected like that or like this. Excuse me. So it's but something like an egg. Crack an egg open. Typically, it's not what you want. Just put it in a frying pan, boil it in some water, something. It changes, and then it's something smells really nice. We really want it then. And that's how the body is. It's like we're still babies in the planet. We're still earthly humans, vulnerable, just as 100% vulnerable as you can ever imagine, right? And I mean, frankly, disagree with, right? But the thing here is that we've cracked the shell up here up top, right? And we've subjected ourselves to something we understand has its challenge. We've already went through this, and we already know this. We know what this thing is, and so let's take some time while we press forward, ever backward, never, brethren and sisters. The chapter, and let's represent, large 374 as we see. Just takes a little bit of push power, energy, and we feel great. The challenge is a small one. It's smaller than it was early on. And the funny thing, which is the reason why I've mentioned this, and on a regular basis, I'm prone to be um, compelled and retrospective enough to mention this or make mention of this kind of experience, uh, is because as time goes on, we don't continue to go down or up on a tangent either way. We don't start to notice it more and more, from like a hard shell or a solid state to a liquid fluid flowing state. Yeah. Rather, once the shell is broken and we go from a solid state or something that's absolute, the concrete, into something that's um, more modular or something that's more free flowing, it conditions us, and then it makes sure that we reach a certain level of comfort. The body maxes out, comes to a responsible point, if you will, in a situation, if you will, where it attains a threshold. And then from there, we have a gauge. And so what we're looking at is just the need to open up and get warmed up. We don't continue to get warm until we're scorched or scalded. Metaphors, right? And so that's the funny thing, and that's what I ironically like to talk about, I mention a lot when it comes to physical engagement of the body. Uh, because on a typical scale of logic, we could think, well, we're cold, and then you're also a block of ice, and then you get hot and warm up, and then you're a flame. But the human body has a mechanic system that takes care of itself. The brain makes sure that the body is always safe. Yes. And so there's no different results for us who believe in going beyond traditional education to delve deeper into the mysteries of his or her universe. It's the exact same um, expectation um, I have personally um, each time as it was the last or the time before. That expectation I had, or set a list of expectations I had, right? So we've gotten to where we had to start out. We started out strong, we started out athletic, we started out recreational and very spontaneous, and we've spawned metaphor. So now where we can just relax at thinking about putting one stride in front of the other, propelling ourselves forward with our courage, with uh, uh, our interconnectedness and our sponsors and constituencies, all of the things academically that empower us and drive us forward, in a phenomenal way, and by a phenomenal momentum, in my opinion, right? To where we're just moving, the body's going, the legs are going, because the muscles have loosened up. They're not going to continue to get warm and loosen up either. When they loosen up, that's where it bottoms out or tops off, and then we reach a maintained level. We could find ourselves here. I challenge you to acquire the sense of emotional intelligence in reference to uh, personal development, and just let the legs walk. Let's let the body do what it does. Because we did our part. And that was to break the ice, warm it up, crack the shell. We don't have to continue to monitor it and watch it. Right? Once it's cracked, it gets to a warm level, it gets crunked up, and then it stops. Right? And from there it's starting to work. We need not really pay more attention to it. So I just want to point that out, Lodge 374 out of Minnesota, who knew